So this week I was away from Monday morning till a couple hours ago. Couple days we're at Pearlstone Retreat Center, which is really a well-known Jewish retreat space in the DC, Baltimore area. There's tons of groups, any Jewish, I will say most Jewish retreats that take place among the Jews of Baltimore or DC happen at Pearlstone, and I was there for an art and spirituality workshop with 19 other Reform rabbis, all women except 2. So that was a really interesting, intended to spur creativity kind of gathering, and then a couple days on my own retreat. So when I planned all this, I didn't think I would have really just have one arm, and that made the whole thing a little more challenging, but I managed. I also learned that having a sling gets you into pre-board, which on Southwest is a giant perk, almost worth having a broken collarbone for. I was close. I was very excited when she told me, because if you remember Southwest, if you've flown it, it's a little interesting. So anyway, I got great seats, so that is the positive perk. So, you know, when you get away, it gives you an opportunity to kind of pull away from the piles of papers and emails and phone messages that kind of make up your daily life, no matter really what you do, and gets you in a space where you're more thinking about big picture. I also will say, since religious school ended on Sunday, it is officially summer, and I have learned from many years working in congregations that if you're not on to planning like the next day after religious school ends, like you're in big, like high holy days are here in a second. So, already I'm starting to really think and vision. I am starting to prepare for my second 3-year partnership with TBO. Hopefully the second of many 3-year partnerships to come in the future. And doing a lot of thinking about what value we offer and how we can explain in a simple and Jewish-based way who we are. So we live in a time where we have 2 things going on simultaneously, which I don't want to say they conflict with each other, but they're kind of 2 interesting phenomena happening at the same time. One, the synagogue as a Jewish institution, or as an institution in general, has never been more important than it is now. And 2, adults under about age 45, 40, not to make a total generalization, but in general, tend to not even understand why anyone would join or support a synagogue. So we have those 2 things going on simultaneously. And I don't really believe in lamenting things that are, because they just are. So it's like, there's where we are. How can we meet this challenge? That's what I'm about. When I was a child, and I think a lot of you understand what I'm talking about, your family joined the temple because that's what you do. That's it. I mean, there wasn't like big discussions about whether or not we should support our local Jewish community. You did, because that's what you do. And I just grew up with that, and nobody's growing up with that anymore. And we just need to know no one's growing up with that anymore. So what we need to focus on is, what is it that we offer, and is it of value? Why should people be part of this? And that is something I've been thinking about for a long time, and I'm thinking more about, and I only have little sketches and things I'm still working on, but I'll be certainly working through this, my sketchy ideas, with all of you in the months ahead, and I anticipate at least one High Holy Day sermon about this, about what do we offer? Why us? Why should we be here? Why should people support us? And I would encourage everyone to really think about it. A lot of you also may have grown up in a family where that's just what you do. Okay, that's just what you do is bye-bye. So that's not anymore, and that's not what it's about. It's about why. What do we have here? We know that we live in a society that is very, very, and this was true before COVID, absolutely true even more so post-COVID, very, very screen-oriented, very individual-oriented. And we know that is causing our society to have depression rates through the roof, anxiety rates, feelings of alienation, feeling of isolation. We know these things are rampant. We know we need community. We know we need human interaction. Human beings just need this. We may live in a high-tech world of chatbots and artificial intelligence and all that, but the reality is that human beings need other human beings. There's just no way we can pretend otherwise. And we need a place where positive Jewish values are modeled, because unfortunately out in the world, these things are spotty. We don't always see these things modeled in ways when we are in our workplaces or in our schools or, in stores or on the streets. We need to teach Jews how the synagogue provides what society often fails to provide. So as Reform Jews, we are values-based. And I am working on kind of a visual educational tool that maps out the direct connection between the Jewish values that we cherish as a Jewish people and everything that we do in our synagogue. Everything from teaching our children to worship services to the way we conduct meetings to the way we personally interact among ourselves or personally interact with people who come in from the outside. Everything we do should be integrated. And I know, and I'm sure many of you know, that that is not the case at a number of synagogues out in the world, that good, positive Jewish values are not always lived throughout every aspect of synagogue life. And I believe that's what we strive for. We are Beth Orr, we are the house of light, and I believe we have a great deal of history and also potential in the future to continue to shine a light about how synagogue life should be, what a synagogue should be. Just one example is when I say the Shema, and when I introduce the Shema, and the Shema, the 6 words of the Shema end with Adonai Echad, and the reality that that can be translated many ways. But one really important way it's translated is God or godliness or holiness is one. It unifies. It unifies all living things, and it should unify everything we do, everything we say, the way we interact with people within our walls and outside of our walls. And I guess I am looking ahead to thinking more deeply and having more discussion around how do we live that? We are living that a lot. TBO is known as a very supportive place, and a place that is very inclusive, and a place where, the superficial things that sometimes people out in society focus on, we don't care so much about here. We have a really solid history and foundation of these excellent, excellent values, and how can we really pull them out more, and how can we maybe have a way to explain really clearly to others, this is who we are, this is what we're about, this is why this is important, this is why you and your family should be part of this. This is what we bring not only to those of us here, but this is what we bring outside of our walls, out into the community and out into the world. So may we all begin to think about, how does this synagogue already supply so many of these wonderful things that our society needs so badly, and how can we build on that to offer even more to ourselves and to others?